Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cancer February 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So this reading is specifically meant to help you find the meaning in the challenge or challenges you are currently experiencing so that you can better understand and see your personal path and purpose and what Spirit would like to have illuminated about some aspect of yourself that you will unlock and get better acquainted with as you meet and overcome this challenge. Okay, so Cancer. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start by pulling a card or cards to take a look at the energy that you're currently sitting with in your internal world or environment. Then I'll pull some cards to take a look at what's going on in your external environment and the meaning behind engaging this internal energy with your external environment and what Spirit is basically teaching you about yourself and the meaning behind this engagement and the challenge that you might have or a block around utilizing this energy externally. So let's take a look. So Cancer, your first card out for your energy is the Page of Cups, which I love. There's a childlike innocence around being vulnerable in an emotional sense, but from a place of optimism and almost that beautiful quality of when you're around a child who is just willing and ready to share everything about themselves and what they're excited about. So there is a feeling of getting back in touch almost with your inner child. That's what I'm really feeling here for you, Cancer. So we have in your external environment the Seven of Cups, and in your basically the meaning, what you're looking to get out of this whole experience is the Two of Swords. So there is something right now about a decision that needs to be made in your current life experience. And the Two of Swords can denote not being able to see a way forward, not being able to make that decision. There's a feeling with this card where you are perhaps taking a look at both sides and everything seems equal. And so you're sitting and waiting for that connection to your intuition to help guide your way forward. I often see this card actually as more of an illusion that that one choice is better than another. When you look at this image here, she's holding two swords that are of identical length and weight, and what may seem like two choices might actually only be in reality one single choice. And what can happen is when we start to overanalyze, we get further and further away from the clarity needed to understand what choice aligns intuitively with our own personal truth in the moment. So there's something about, for you this month, Cancer, about getting back in touch with your own personal cup, the emotional state around who you are on an individual level, going back to that purest, innocent version of yourself, and bringing your cup out to hold against what may be a month filled with opportunity. The Seven of Cups is a card that can represent that. It can represent that there are a lot of options out there for you right now, and you may be trying to decide which one to take. Now, the Seven of Cups can actually be similar to the Two of Swords for me, can be a card of illusion. The illusion that what is outside of ourselves can fulfill us. Meaning, we may see all of these opportunities out there and we're worried about, okay, well, which one do we take? Because what if I take this opportunity and actually this other one over here would be the more fulfilling one? And we can get kind of stuck in this area or this point in our lives where we are not almost able to make a decision because we are in that analysis paralysis of, but what about this? And what about this? I need to analyze this just a little bit more. And maybe this one might feel a little better. And What Spirit's trying to get you to realize is you hold your own cup. We each hold our own cup. We're gifted at the time of our creation with the Ace of Cups, which is the never-ending fulfillment of love between us and the divine, between us and what we're able to give to the world from our own cup, from our own uniqueness, and what we are able to actually replenish for ourselves from our connection to Spirit. And I think, Cancer, you're getting back in touch with that part of yourself. But what can be scary when we're sitting with this energy is that there's a high vulnerability to that. There is this element that comes through as well when you're thinking about the innocence of a child, that we take what is kind of the beautiful innocence that we look at with a child, and as we get older, instead of continuing to look fondly on that part of ourselves, we then start to, instead of applying kind of sweet innocence, we start to look at that as naive. And there's kind of a negative stigma around the word naive versus innocent. And what can happen is we start to feel like this part of ourselves is naive or stupid, or if we bring it out, it might look less than in comparison to all these other cups. And this is the illusion out here. There may be a lot of other opportunities, and the opportunities are for other cups that match those cups to walk towards, if that makes sense. I know that's a little confusingly stated there. So let me try to restate that. There is a cup out there for you, but you hold it already in your hand. It is the part of yourself that is your inner child. It's the part of yourself that emotionally, when you look at all of these opportunities, there's going to be one out there that really is like, ooh, I want that. That one's for me. Now, the others may be ones that we look at and say, well, my parents told me that this one might be a better job or a better offer, and society as a whole tells me that this other opportunity might be even better, and my religious upbringing told me that this one could also be a place to fulfill an emotional need of mine. But in reality, when you go within to look at you yourself, on the most innocent, pure version of yourself, and you hold your cup out to the world, to where all of these opportunities are always being presented, one will align with your cup. You'll see where your cup is meant to be out there. And the rest of those cups, the rest of those opportunities, well, there's going to be somebody else whose cup matches that. And that's how you're going to gain clarity as to this decision, this when do I act? Is the time now? And you'll get past this analysis paralysis. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull some additional cards here to take a look at the challenge and the blocks that might be preventing you from being able to really understand what's in your cup, what emotionally fulfills you, who are you at your most pure level, the most authentic version of yourself, and how to bravely be able to choose. Oops, I'm holding the deck upside down. Sorry guys, these did not come out reversed. Just want to verify that. Okay, oh, beautiful. We have the Star, we have the Five of Cups, we have the King of Cups, the King of Swords, and let's see if we can get a couple more here. What else does Cancer need to know? What else does Cancer need to know about what opportunity they need to set their eyes on, make a decision around for the month of February? Okay. All right, Cancer. So we have the Star. Actually, let me go through all of these. We have the Star, we have the Five of Cups, King of Swords, Nine of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. So really powerful energy here. The Star, right off the bat, is the energy of understanding that each one of us as a singular, unique being has a guiding star. So when you think of the space, the universe, the heavens above us, there are, I'm going to use a fake term, but bazillions of stars. There's so many stars out there that we as human beings cannot understand the enormity of what that number even means to us. And that's the beauty, that no matter how many humans there are, no matter how many souls are born and die and come back, every time, each individual, no matter what you believe, whether you do believe souls come back or not, each individual is born tied to one of those stars, tied to something that truly makes them limitless in their uniqueness. And this is that reminder, but this is also in your challenge position. So when the star comes up in the challenge position, this can represent feeling that there's almost a hopelessness around it. That instead of knowing that we each have a singular star and that we're meant to follow that star, and that we're meant that hope or dream or self-realization that is tied to that star is meant for us, this is when we feel like the star, we know our star, we see our star, but we have lost hope that we will ever be able to meet it or bring it down to our experience. And with the Five of Cups, there's a strong sense of regret, of what has passed, and perhaps failings of the past, feeling like efforts where you had an emotional tie to following your star did not come to fruition in the way that you were hoping. And this is what's kind of leaving you in this point of not wanting to bravely go out and bring your cup to the party, so to speak, to go out and with naivete try to bring that star down again. And what Spirit's asking you to do is to step up into, at the heart of your reading is the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is holds a very powerful energy. This is the energy of truth. It's the energy of someone who sees clearly now. The King of Swords would not be the one who is sitting like the Two of Swords, because he understands, he's mastered the swords. He's mastered his thoughts. He's mastered how to analyze, and he understands truth. The truth for him, and he is able to communicate it. He is able to see the fairness, but also able to be truthful in passing judgment. He harnesses the energy of someone that you would love to go to, who you trust to provide you with that honest opinion. And Spirit's asking you to step up into that and taking a look at the past, taking a look forward, and being truthful with yourself, and being honest with yourself that there is a decision here that needs to be made that is in alignment with your truth. And there needs to be some element around this regret as well, that yes, sometimes things don't work out the way that we wanted. Sometimes we did chase a dream and I'm not even going to say failed, because I don't like the word failed, because we're constantly learning. The more that we engage with our external environment, the more we are, just like riding a bike or doing anything in the physical environment, we are learning how to do something better. And so, yeah, maybe you did have a failed marriage, or maybe you did try to start a business that was based around a dream and it didn't go the way that you wanted, or you moved to a new location and you were going to have this fresh start and it didn't work. But it doesn't mean that initial hope or dream that effort was tied to is still not meant for you. What that means is that you had all of the opportunity now to have the clarity as you look back to actually know so much more about chasing that star than another person would because of what you've already gone through. And there's this quality now of being asked to, as I'm looking here, Cancer, it's game time. It's time to step up your game. And I think you know this because directly after this is the Nine of Swords, where this is the card of worry. It's the card of the thoughts that keep us up at night. It's the negative what ifs. It's what if this happens? What if I do try again and I fail again? What if I get married again and this time it also doesn't work out? What if I get the business license and I start promoting myself again and no one buys my products? But what Spirit's trying to tell you is the white crow in amongst all of these dark crows, the dark thoughts, is that it's the truth. It's Spirit. It's your sword of truth. And it's the realization of your own power now that can come in, dispel those negative thoughts, and be able to show you that it's time to step up into the Queen of Wands. Now, the power of the Queen of Wands is one of, I like to call it, realizing that we have almost magical powers like that of a witch. And I'm probably saying that because there are a lot of shows on TV right now that are focused on magic and witches, but that is a quality that holds true to the Queen of Wands. It's the realization that by tapping into our specific passions and our wand that we get from Spirit, our Ace of Wands, which is technically our magic wand that can singularly create something that nobody else's magic wand can create. Now, once we realize that, we realize our own power, and when we act in accordance to our passion, that we literally can manifest for ourselves what is tied directly to our star, our greatest hope and dream for ourselves, that it almost comes down to, well, what can't I do? And this can be a challenge in that we can feel our own personal importance. We can feel our own, it's almost like that final recognition of, oh my gosh, I've come out of this fog of regret and frustration and hopelessness. And now I'm coming into seeing more of the truth of my own personal power. And I want to try again. And I want to go out there and do it. But I know that it can't just be for me, if this makes sense. I can't just, we always have the choice when we realize our own manifestation powers. Are we going to be the good witch or the bad witch? And this can be tied a little bit to the energy of selfishness. And we can stop ourselves from following our dreams because we feel it's being selfish. Now, when you think of the word selfish, it's self and ish combined together. But self is a big part of that. And when we think about needing to reach our fullest potential, that each one of us holds this beautiful kernel of a full tree that is meant to be realized in our lifetime, that, yeah, we do have to focus on ourself. We do have to focus on taking action from a place of self, because if we don't, that's when we lose that direct emotional connection to everything else that we do. But you can choose to do so in a way that is still keeping in mind the rest of your experience and environment at the time. So you may be realizing your own power and wanting to go chase after a new dream again, but you may be holding yourself back for fear that you're going to look selfish, for fear that your choices might maybe negatively affect a home environment or a work environment even. This could be where we're afraid to leave and follow a passion because we feel that we're going to let the rest of the team down where we currently work. And what Spirit's asking you to do is to step up into this in the most positive way, which is realizing the more we focus on bettering ourselves and taking care of ourselves and acting from a place of self, but in the way that we are bettering ourselves, following our star, and wanting others to come with us and to benefit from that, and we understand what the benefit would be to others, that the more we do that, the more others do not have to come in and, I wouldn't say help, but the more that we lean less and less on others. And we actually open up the energy to allow others to focus, allow others in our field to focus and grow themselves at the same time. So as we grow, we allow others to grow. And I know sometimes that can be a difficult concept to understand. But when you think about it, if you are in a family dynamic or you're in a work environment and perhaps you have been the one taking on all of the work, or you've been the one trying to make things, not making a decision and trying to maybe do it all, that if you needed help because you overextended yourself, that others then have to pick up that slack. Where instead, if you take a look at actually what you need to make yourself really feel into this Page of Cups, getting back in touch with what emotionally fills you, it's going to allow you to see what is an opportunity and what is not. It's going to allow you to clarify where you take action. And it's going to actually really simplify what you see as a way forward and what you don't see. And so you're actually clarifying, utilizing your energy in the most efficient way, utilizing your magic in the most efficient way, allowing it to also be able to be at its heightened, at its best, in its best state, so that then others around you aren't trying to pick up the slack because you're kind of all over the place, or you're kind of sitting in this land of regret and not taking action. So another has to actually step up and take more action because you're not working at the highest or living at the highest level that you can. And so while the rest of your environment is waiting for you to get up to that level, they're also having to kind of take care of you at the same time. And sometimes we don't realize that. So Spirit's trying to show you now that by seeing the truth and owning the truth, getting the clarity, going past the worry and stepping into this place of the Queen of Wands, of starting to take action from the self, but from the self with the understanding that the more you act from that place of self, the more you're going to benefit the greater collective, the greater experience around you, that is going to clarify more and more for you what actually emotionally connects to your cup out here. It's almost like playing that game of, what is the one where you have to flip the cards over and you have to find the matches. It's like that. It's like you take your cup, you realize what's in it, you realize this is actually what's important to me. This is what I value. And that's the option I'm going to take. And that's the decision I'm going to make. And that's fully where I'm going to put my magic. And I think you'll be amazed at how things are going to kind of just come naturally into alignment where they've maybe felt a little chaotic and all over the place. Okay, so Cancer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a card here. So I'm going to pull a card for Curiosity, Courage, and Contemplation, where we're now going to engage the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool that I utilize in my practice, where we're going to take what is a very general message and we're going to pull that down through working with these 3 basic principles to make this more of an individualized experience for you. So we're pulling a card here to take a look at what Spirit would like you to be curious about for the month of February as you move through. This is where we're kind of opening ourselves up with that childlike sense of awe and wonder and what am I missing? What's out there for me? And this is all in an effort for Spirit to help you recognize something that you need to be aware of, but that you might be missing currently. So let's see, what does Cancer need to know about? Oh, beautiful. So you have 2 here. You have Okay, interesting. We have storm warning and community. Number 10 breaking down to a 1, and then the number 7. So, curious. With storm warning and community, there is this strong correlation between going through a tough time, and where I kind of get this feeling of just, it's been kind of chaos. Things might have gotten a little churned up, so to speak. And with community coming in, there's this beautiful energy of you have support around you. This is divine support. The number 7 is for us to connect with spirit. And the number 10 also harnesses the number 1 in the same number. So there's always a feeling of endings and beginnings with the number 10. So there's something here with the disruption that you've been currently going through. It was to bring something to an end. And the start now, you have support around you. You have, and this reminds me very much of the 3 of Cups energy, which is where you take your cup and you celebrate your cup with others. And I think this is really what Spirit's trying to bring in for you here, is to be curious as to now, as you're reconnecting with who you are and you are addressing some issues that you've been kind of dealing with, the chaos a little bit, and you're getting clarity and you're gaining focus and you're understanding where you need to take action and why, that be open to where support comes in for you. Be open to, when sometimes we think when we make these changes that everybody's going to either shun us or laugh at us, or my boss will be mad when I tell him I'm putting in my 2 weeks, or my spouse is going to be upset when I tell them I'm going to do this. And you might be surprised that you might get the opposite reaction, meaning that either that person actually comes around and says, I've been waiting. I never understood why you stayed as long as you did in this job when I know that you've always been passionate about this. Or when your significant other says, sweetheart, I would love to help you in following this passion. You've helped me for so long. I would love to help you. Or this is also where sometimes we think that when we do go out, we're preparing ourselves almost with this like all these worries of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to like defend this part of myself and no one's gonna understand. And then all of a sudden, the more you just innocently bring this part of yourself out, whether it's you're starting to talk about your passions, you're starting to just, maybe you're joining a group that likes to do the same thing as you, or you're anything that kind of brings you into alignment with what fills your cup, that all of a sudden you're going to get people kind of coming out of the blue saying, oh my gosh, I love doing that too. Or, oh my gosh, I really need somebody who can do X, Y, and Z. So is that the new job you're starting? Well, can you help me with this? And all of a sudden, what seemed like this crazy storm coming in and kind of tearing things apart, it's going to actually, I get this feeling very interestingly that it's almost going to be like magically transformed into this. That what you think, and it's kind of interesting too, I didn't even notice this here, but in this image, it looks like there's, kind of the ruins of a, Greek or Roman temple here, or not temple, but like a site. And then here it's like the same columns. And it's almost like what had to come through was purifying this for you to be able to see it for what it truly is, which is, no, it's not this place of hopelessness and despair. It's actually meant to get rid of what was maybe hiding this and to show you what it can be. So I think that's really strongly coming through all of a sudden here intuitively, is be curious as to what perhaps you've seen as something that maybe didn't come out right, or that you're missing in your current experience that can be transformed. Whether this is a home, whether this is a work environment, whether this is even energy between you and where you live, the actual geographic location. There's something about this almost like renewal and a fresh perspective on something that you're missing, on something that with all of the chaos that's been going on has been, there's like a new opportunity in there somewhere for you. So be curious about that. Just because it is what has been doesn't mean that you can't transform it with your magic. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull the Power of Surrender card for the concept of courage. And this is where we're going to take a look at what Spirit would like us to be aware of as we have the courage to take action, or where we should have the courage to take action. So what would Spirit like us to know, like all the Cancers to know for the month of February, what they should keep in mind as they are gathering the courage to take action on their own behalf? Oh, beautiful. So perfect for you, Cancer. Okay, we have surrender to your intuition. And Cancer, you are a sign that is, your superpower is being able to go within, tap into your intuition to actually use to make these decisions in your life. And it says, tune into your inner voice. Be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. I think that's about as clear as it can possibly be. Spirit's asking you to tap back in to you, even. That your superpower as a Cancer is to have that feeling, you know, in your gut, but more specifically kind of in your whole being, what aligns with your cup. And it's time to trust that, so that when you want to take action and you might hold yourself back, take a look at, but I feel this. I feel it and I know it to be true, and take that action. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a final card here for the concept or the principle of contemplation. And this is kind of a final overarching message, a reflective point that Spirit would like you to keep in mind as you move through February. And as you're kind of holding that beautiful light of illumination up to where you've taken action, the consequences of the actions that you took throughout the month, this is where you reflect on, are those actions in alignment with this energy or message? Let's see, what does Cancer need to know about what they should be reflective and contemplative about for the month of February? What does Cancer need to know? Sorry, guys. I love for my cards to come out on their own, and sometimes that takes a little bit longer, but I appreciate your patience. Okay, so we have play. Oh, beautiful. It says, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. And that's a beautiful thing to keep in mind, because when we think about the Queen of Wands, I mean, I love this depiction in this deck specifically of her energy, that there's this feeling of when you realize your own, what you're capable of. Like, think about it. Think about being the innocent child yourself, and you wake up and you literally are given a magic wand, and you realize that it has the power to manifest everything you've wanted, your heart's desire. How would that feel? That would feel like the most fun. You could go out and you're just playing with that wand left and right. And that's what Spirit wants you to remember. That's how you know. That's how you emotionally connect with what fulfills you, because it will feel like fun. Because it'll feel like you're celebrating your own life. And in doing so, you elevate everyone around you. And I think that's the biggest message coming through here, Cancers. There's something tied to, I don't quite think you understand how much you impact those around you, and how much your happiness and success and empowerment actually lends to those things kind of trickling in to those lives that you touch. So really be aware of that. Be aware of that power that you have, Cancer, to kind of emanate from this really beautiful emotional core that you have that allows others to be able to act and be liberated to also act and pursue their own, act from and pursue their own emotional wishes and desires. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but it's really coming through strongly here that there's just this, maybe what I'm feeling is that it's almost like you're meant to be an example to others, that as you follow your hope and dream kind of innocently, almost with this exuberance of a carefree child, and you make it look like play, that others are going to see that example and follow it. And I can't imagine that there is a more beautiful example to step into and be to others than to show how fun life can be, how beautiful life can be when we are fully emotionally connected to it. All right, Cancer, I'll leave you with that. If you would like to illuminate your own personal spiritual importance and to see how it can be of service to yourself and others, you can click on the link in my description box to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you for your mid-month reading, which will be all about love because of Valentine's Day over here. And then I will see you again in March. But if I don't see you for the mid-month, I will see you next month. And I hope all of you Cancers out there have a fantastic February. Bye.